Hi everyone! In today's lesson we are going to focus on reading part and we are also going to learn some new vocabulary. At the same time we are going to do some speaking exercises as well. Hammaga salom. Bugungi darsda biz yangi so'zlarni yodlaymiz va birgalikda readingni ham o'qiymiz va albatta speakingga ham urg'u beramiz. Demak, tayyor bo'lsangiz, boshladik. So, before we start our reading part, what we have to do, as usual, we start with the vocabulary part, so that we will know all the words before we come across to them. Har doimgidek readingni boshlashdan oldin biz lug'atni o'rganib chiqamiz. So, let's start. The first one is capture. So, capture, what does it mean? It means qo'lga olmoq. For example, one thief was stealing my phone, but I saw him and I asked the police to capture him or arrest. Next word is cart. This is arava. Next, corn. This is makkajo'xori. Desert. This is chol. We have dessert. This is the meal which you eat. This is a very delicious meal. However, desert, this is a very hot and dry place full of sand. Sand means qum. Next, electricity. This is elektroenergiyasi. Explorer. This is the person who explores. What does the verb explore mean? It means to discover, to find something new, to find some places which haven't been discovered yet. So in Uzbek, this is kashfiyotchi. Next word is forest. Forest, this is a place full of trees, ormon. If you remember, we talked about Red Riding Hood and she went to the forest. Fighter. Fighter, this is fighter. This is jangchi. We learned with you last time fight. This is jang qilmoq yoki jang. But fighter, this is the person who fights. Firewood, this is oten. Ground, this is yer. For example, while I was walking in the street, I found some money on the ground and I took this money into my pocket. Next, hunt. This is ov qilmoq. Today we are going to learn the word. Today we are going to talk about Bedouin people and they use falcon. This is a bird which is able to hunt for other birds. Next, herd. This is poda. So this is the group of animals which live together, eat together, move together. Nomad. This is the person who doesn't have a permanent place to live. They always move from one place to another place. Kochmanchi. Powerful, it means very strong person, but this is not only about strength, alright? This can be powerful leader, for example. He has lots of abilities, he has lots of skills. Let's say Shavkat Mirziyoyev is a powerful leader. Next, pattern. This is Naqsh. Uzbekistan is famous for its patterns. If you visit Samarkand, you can see there a lot of beautiful patterns. Next, pack up. This is qadoqlash. For example, soon I'm going to fly to Dubai and I have to pack up all my things before I leave there. Next, plaf. This is shudgor. Rule over. This is hukmronlik qilmoq. Ribbon, lenta. Next, ranger. This is shimol bug'ulari. Spin, aylantirmoq. Silver, this is kumush. We also have got gold, which is oltin, bronze, and tent, chodar. Wool, jun, and the last word is weave. This is toqmoq. In the past, a lot of women used to weave clothes. So this is all the vocabulary that we are going to come across in our today's reading part. I hope every single word is clear to you. Please make sentences with every single word, and if you can connect 3-4 words together as we did in the past, so that you will not forget all these words. Bu bizning darsimizning lug'ati. Hamma so'zlar sizga tushunarli deb umid qilaman va albatta har bitta so'z bilan yoki esingizda bo'lsa biz 2-4 so'zlarni birgalikda kichkina hikoyacha qiluvdik. Hozir siz videoni to'xtatib, mana xuddi shunday qilsangiz bu so'zlar esingizdan chiqmaydi. Alright? So pause the video, make stories and then we will continue with the reading part. So in our reading part we are going to talk about old customs in modern world. So custom, what is custom? This is tradition. Every single culture has its own tradition. For example, can you tell what are the most famous traditions in Uzbek culture? One of the most popular traditions in Uzbek culture is whenever people cook palo in their homes, they usually share this palo with their neighbors or with their relatives, so that they will share the kindness together and they will show their hospitality. So what other traditions do you remember? Please pause the video and talk, express yourself, alright? Good job. So we also have some other traditions in other cultures as well, which we are going to talk today. So let's read together. People live in all parts of the world. Most people live in towns and cities, but other people live hundreds of kilometers from the nearest city. They live on high mountains, they live in hot deserts and in snowy forests. They keep animals for food. They make their clothes and homes. They are different to people who live in large towns and cities because they do not need lots of shops, cars, and lorries. They do not use much electricity or water. So, for example, people who live in cities, we use a lot of electricity. We also use a lot of water, and we frequently go to the shops. For example, me personally, I go to the shop twice or even 3 times a week. However, there are also some people who live in the villages, in the high mountains, or in the forests, who do not use electricity at all. For example, my grandmother, she lives in the village, and she doesn't use electricity. She doesn't use a lot of water, so she's very eco-friendly person. And there are people. So we are going to talk about this type of people who live in the rural areas, and they have their own customs, they have their own traditions. Alright, so we are going to talk first about weavers of South America. The Incas lived in Peru in South America. 500 years ago, they were very rich and powerful. They had many large cities and they were good fighters. What was the word fighter? Jangchi. Powerful, juda ham kuchli insan. They had gold, silver, and jewels. I hope you remember the word jewels that we learned last time. We talked about a dragonfly, and we said it's like a jewel on the emperor's daughter's crown. They kept many animals and they had good food and clothes. Then explorers from Spain came. They fought the Incas and captured Colgalde, their king. After that, the Spanish ruled over the Incas. The Incas spoke the Quechua language. Quechua people are still living in Peru today. They keep sheep and goats in the mountains. They get wool from the animals. They spin the wool and weave it into cloths. They make patterns in cloths. The patterns are like the old Inca patterns. So you see, this is perhaps the king, and these are his people who are, so these are the people who support him perhaps. And also we have, as you see, each village has a special pattern, and children learn the patterns. They weave thin ribbons, and women carry their babies or fruit and vegetables in the cloth, which is made from wool, which is made of wool, and men carry firewood and corn. So you see, the clothes were very much strong. They weren't thin, they weren't delicate, but they were thick, so that they will be able to carry heavy objects. Next, herdsmen of the Northern Europe. The Sami people lived in Northern Europe. It is very cold in winter and there is always a lot of snow on the ground. Some Sami people are nomads. That means they travel from one place to another. They keep big herds of reindeer, and they live in tents, and when the reindeer need new grass, they pack up their tents and move on. So they move from one place to another place. They don't have a permanent place to live. Next, farmers of Tibet. The Tibetan people live near the highest mountain in the world. Some Tibetans are nomads. They keep sheep and goats. Tibetan farmers use yaks on their farms. The yaks pull carts and plow. Yaks are strong animals, so you can see these are yaks. They are similar to bulls and cows, but a bit different. Tibetans enjoy plays with music and dance. The actors wear amazing costumes and masks. So these are the Tibetans. Next, travelers in the desert. The Bedouin people live in hot places. Some Bedouin travel through the desert. Like the Sami people, they keep animals and live in tents. When they move the animals, they can take their tents with them. They hunt with falcons, so their families have more food. So you see, this is falcon, and they are very beautiful birds, and they have sharp beaks and watchful eyes. So a watchful eye, it means they can see everything from very far places, and they have sharp beaks so that they capture the prey very quickly. Prey, this is an object which is being hunted. So this is, or in Uzbek it will be ulo. So falcons cage as birds, as you can see, and this is the falcon which caught prey or ulo. Nowadays, not many Bedouin live in the desert all the time. Many of them live in the houses, in towns and villages, but they still fly falcons in the desert. So this is all about old customs in the modern world. So these customs are not really much used, but still there are some people who still practice these things. Please now pause the video and try to retell what you remember, because it will be helpful for you. And please also try to tell about customs of Uzbek culture or any other culture you know in English language. If you want, you can use this vocabulary as well. But most importantly, you have to speak. Alright? Good job. So now let's answer to the questions. First, answer by yourself, and then we are going to check together. Let's check our answers. The first one, 500 years ago, the Incas were very rich and powerful. Second, the Incas spoke the Quechua language. Third, the Quechua people spin the wool and weave it into the clothes. Spin, alantermok. They make patterns in the clothes. These are all the patterns. Next, some Sami people are nomads. Nomads are people who travel from one place to another place. 6. The Tibetan people live near the highest mountain in the world. 7. Some Bedouin people travel through the desert. 8. Falcons are beautiful birds with sharp beaks and watchful eyes. Good job. I hope your answers are also the same. Now we move on to the next exercise. In exercise number 2, we have to give longer answers. Some people live hundreds of kilometers from the nearest city. They do not need lots of shops, cars and lorries. Why not? So what do you think? Why the people who live in the rural areas or in the villages, who do not live close to the city, they don't really need cars or lorries or shops? What is the reason behind this? From my point of view, they do not need these kind of objects because they have everything in their homes. They grow vegetables by themselves, do not need cars to travel from other places because everything is situated very close to them. And whatever they need, whatever they require, everything is grown in their own homes. This is my point of view. What do you think? What is the reason behind this from your point of view? Second, these people do not use much electricity or water. Why not? They do not use electricity because they don't really have TVs or any other objects which need electricity, because they do not have even time to watch TV or to do other things, because most of the time they spend outside in their farms. And they also don't use much water because they do not have access to water. They do not have pipes in their own homes. They usually take water from the rivers or from the lakes. This is what I think. What's in your opinion? Alright, well done. Now we move to exercise number 3, and what we have to do, we have to write the definition to the words given in the box. For example, strong, as we said, this is powerful. And other words, please do it, and other words, please do them by yourself, and then we are going to check together. Alright, let's check the vocabulary part. As we said, the first word, strong, this is powerful. Next, second, power that travels along wires and makes light and machines work. This is what? Electricity. So it travels through wires. So wires, it means similar it travels, and then because of it, machines like this TV or other things work. Next, see everything that is happening. This is watchful. To follow and catch, hunt. Person who travels and looks at new places. This is the person who, this is explorer. A small group of houses, village. To turn or twist round and round, spin, round and round. And the last one, to catch and hold on to. This is capture. Today we have focused our attention on the speaking and reading parts. I hope you enjoyed everything. Please learn the vocabulary and do your homework. Goodbye.